You may have noticed in the past couple of years that games are taking longer and longer to release, and we're here to break down the reasons why and dive into what's holding back these AAA games from being released sooner rather than later. There is not just one reason why, but a multitude of factors which may affect each in its own way. The first reason we will talk about is how the game sizes year after year keep increasing. So, let's talk about time. Back in the day, developers had the luxury of time to meticulously compress game assets. Compression was key to fitting games into limited storage available, but today, the gaming industry moves at breakneck speed, driven by high consumer demand and the competitive market. Developers often don't have the time to compress files like they used to. This can be shown in games like Call of Duty Black Ops 2. In 2012, when Call of Duty Black Ops 2 was initially released, it only had a required storage of a measly 16 gigabytes, compared to Black Ops 6, which will be around a staggering 150 gigabytes. Next is one of the main culprits for the massive size of games is the use of bigger texture sizes. Textures are the images that wrap around 3D models to give them colour and detail. As gamers, we expect lifelike graphics and highly detailed environments because our standards for games' visual aspects increase with each new game that releases. Which means developers have to use high resolution textures and ultimately results in games taking up significantly more space. This also means the increased demand for high-resolution textures and detailed environments means that developers need to spend more and more time creating, optimizing, and testing these assets, which can significantly extend the development timeline and ultimately result in games taking longer and longer to be released. Gamers today have sky-high expectations for graphics quality. We want realistic lighting, shadows, and intricate details in every corner of the game world. This level of detail requires a tremendous amount of data. High polygon counts, complex shaders, and advanced rendering techniques all contribute to the increased size of game files. But I think we can all agree it can be worth the wait to see what these developers are going to bring next.
Perhaps the most simple reason as to why you're waiting for a sequel is because the video game studio is simply just working on other projects. This can be seen with the popular video game studio CD Projekt Red, which announced the existence of Cyberpunk 2077 in May 2012, but then released the game 8 years later in 2020. But at the same time, work was just beginning on the highly anticipated game, The Witcher 3. So, Cyberpunk 2077 did not probably start development until after the release of the final Witcher 3 DLC in 2016. While on the topic of Cyberpunk, this leads us to our third point, delays. Delays can make up a major factor as to why AAA games struggle to meet their original deadline, and this can arise in the form of unexpected challenges. One particular example can be drawn again from the game Cyberpunk 2077, when they had delayed the game for a second time due to issues with preparing the game for current-gen and next-gen consoles and PC all at the same time. The current and last-gen consoles have vastly different hardware to each other, and it would have been far harder for CD Projekt Red to optimize the game for last-generation consoles, as they would have been far less powerful. Another reason as to why a game can be delayed can simply be due to perfectionism on the part of the developer. A popular example of this can be seen with the anticipation of the release of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom was described as already being completed for its slated spring 2022 release, but was later delayed for an entire year for the purposes of making sure everything worked and was polished. Eiji Aonuma explained that another reason for the delay was that there was not enough enthusiasm in the reaction to the first 13-minute long gameplay video. Delays can be a force for good within the video game industry, even though it sucks that we would have to wait longer. Everyone can objectively argue that a game that releases prematurely before it is properly completed will most likely flop. To come to an overarching conclusion, you can see that why games take so long to make is due to a variety of factors. This can be due to demand for more detailed graphics, which naturally demand more attention from developers, to standards of perfection that developers want their game to adhere to. It can also be a multitude of factors at once. And that concludes our first video on this channel. We would really appreciate any feedback you could provide to us so we can better understand what you want from us next time. Thank you for watching and subscribe.